here we are on a Monday morning, and we lay out the front pages of the newspapers for you to get a temperature gauge of what's happening news-wise. The Daily Mail reporting that, let's have a look, there we are, Solemn Kate paying tribute to the late Queen on Remembrance Sunday, while Suella Braverman defies critics who want her sacked.
Here's the Daily Telegraph. They're reporting on Braverman's statement saying that the hate marches must end. They also talk about heat pumps being too loud for some homes. Guardian
states that mould and squalid housing could be making the NHS crisis worse, along with reports of no power and no water in hospitals in Gaza.
Daily Star reporting that the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt's considering pre-Christmas tax cuts to lift Tory gloom, as dairy farmers are on high alert as blue tongue virus has been detected.
Oh dear, that doesn't sound
nice.
Let's see your tongue. Oh, be careful. Daily Star reports perfect storm. This is Storm Debbie that we're talking about today. Heavy rainfall coming with Storm Debbie. You'll wake up to that this morning. We also hear strong winds on the way too.
You see, we said Daily Star was reporting the blue tongue virus, and then we said the Daily Star was reporting on the perfect storm. I'm not sure which one it was, but we will work it out and get back to you on that. We're joined to go through the papers this morning, and indeed headline makers, as we like to call it, with former editor of the Daily Star, Dawn Neeson, and the political commentator, Alex Armstrong. Welcome to both of you. Dawn, should we start by focusing on the King yesterday, who managed to stop everybody from arguing for 2 minutes at least, and led the nation as we held a silence yesterday morning.
You know what, and it was lovely. I every year, because I'm normally working on it, covering it for someone or another, and every year I swear I'm going to be a professional journalist, I'm not going to get emotionally involved, and every year I'm like biting my lip and sort of like, it's just incredibly emotive. I mean, to see the thousands of people who have served, are still serving, filing past the cenotaph, to see the royals there. Obviously, it's King Charles's first as king. And I think the Express have got a great front page where they've got a picture of both Charles and Kate with tears in their eyes. And I just think it's just so emotional, and I'm so pleased, Isabel, that it was respected, it went well. I think I think the police force looking after it did an amazing job, to be honest with you. They've taken so much stick this week. That...
Do you know what I think's great? We put all the attention on the cenotaph in London, but Alex, around most towns and villages in the whole land, there is some sort of cenotaph commemoration, and I think that is excellent, the people who turn out there for their parades and to pay their respects.
Yeah, it's beautiful, Eamonn, and it's such a lovely tradition that we do this every year, and we've been doing it for so long. I think the British people honour this day every year in such an eloquent and beautiful day. I mean, we're there to remember the people that gave their lives for our freedom. And, you know, I think you're right, Eamonn. It's just beautiful scenes. Beautiful, beautiful scenes.
Well, here's a scene I wouldn't like to see. I wouldn't like to be walking out onto the street or going to get into my car and see a lion in front of me, a real big lion. Have a look. This is from TikTok, and this is on the streets of Rome.
Me.
Do we know what happened to the lion, Alex?
We do. So eventually it was caught. I mean, you can see there's obviously people tracking it there on the streets. Eventually it was caught. No one was harmed. The lion was fine. It was returned to the zoo, as far as I'm aware, without any problems. I'm sure that lion will have some other very good stories to tell, but quite incredible scenes. I mean, you would be very surprised if you were walking, having a late night walk, and you saw that heading towards you, wouldn't you?
I think there's a problem in Italy with large I guess predators, but also they had some elephants on a ring road around Rome that either got out of a circus or a zoo, and there's sort of prompts a national debate about whether or not they should have large animals at circuses.
Unlike the UK, where we don't have animals in circuses anymore, Italy does still have the lion.
And I think the theory was anti-large animal in circuses who released the lion. That's the theory. 3 men were seen hanging around. Can you imagine that? It could have gone horribly wrong.
Well, thankfully, no one was hurt. I mean, the lion was sedated and taken back, whether it wanted to or not, to the circus. But can you imagine sort of like, you know, wandering out from a night out thinking, I might have just had too much to drink with the lion in front of me, and it's like,
And there was another incident, I think, in Italy when a tiger turned on. It got
That's
released,
right.
and it turned on. I think there was at the circus trainer.
That's
and
right.
Played with its body, this man's body, for half an hour before they could get it away from the tiger.
The way a cat would play with a ball
with a
of
mouse
wool.
or something.
You shouldn't have animals in captivity. They're just not designed for that, are they? They're designed for the wild, particularly if you're forcing them to perform these horrible acts for people, which I don't think many people enjoy anymore. I certainly don't enjoy seeing it.
No, you feel uncomfortable watching it now, wouldn't you?
Yes, you do, yeah.
Yeah, I can remember as a child, obviously, going to circuses and seeing animals perform, whatever. Now you just wouldn't even enter your head to do such a thing.
No.
Dawn, 1 in 4 teachers think banter is a serious problem. Oh, this does my head in.
It's National Anti-Bullying Day today.
Well, you know, banter can harden you to things. I mean, banter is humour. Do you know what? Banter is so much part of the Northern Irish personality.
And the British, I think. Well, as in...
Well, you're full of banter, you are.
What were you going to say there?
I think your banter and my banter are two different things. But, no, banter, there are certain people from Liverpool, from Newcastle, from Glasgow. You tell me life without banter. I am so against this. This will harden kids up. I just don't get the problem. I just don't get it.
There's a fine line, isn't it, when it stops being banter, which I think is a good thing. It does harden you up, absolutely, and you have to take the rough with the smooth. Otherwise, you're not going to cope with real life when you grow up, are you? But if it goes over...
Do you think you have to put up with banter with me?
I'm very capable of putting up with banter, and I do think that's, you know, I've been toughened up. But if someone said to my son, "Oh, Chubby, all right, Chubby," was just banter. That's horrible.
Well,
and
you wouldn't say
bullying.
it. You'd be much, you know, it's like you talking about your witch's outfit last week, and I said to you, you should take that nose off.
And
now.
the next day, I called the plastic surgeon, and I said, "My presenter says I've got a
But you know, if you haven't got a sense of humour from that, good luck.
No,
Do you know
I
what?
do.
You're welcome
No,
to the world that you're going to
here.
inhabit.
Look,
Wokeless, humourless.
I do agree, but there is sometimes a grey area.
There is a grey
and there are kids who are bullied, and the bullies say it was just banter.
Yes. But I do think we do need to... 1 in 4 teachers, I think 1 in 4 teachers probably need to harden up a bit themselves as well. There is a difference, and I need to identify bullying and banter.
Yeah.
Having a joke with someone, because when you grow up and you're in the workplace, as you've just demonstrated so well, used to, you put up with banter. It's part of everyday life.
You know what worries me, Dawn, is that I think that sometimes we get to this part in our society where we sort of constantly trying to cancel things, and then we'll take something too far. And I do agree, there is obviously a line to be crossed, but it's part of our culture to have a little bit of banter with each other. I know when I lived in America that you couldn't really make a joke without someone getting overly offended, and that's sort of bred into the system very young. So I do think that we should just, you know, lay off children a bit.
I was hosting Teachers' Awards on Friday night, and there was an award for being kind. And I put it to the teacher. I said, I just like, you know, however laudable this is, I said, who are you teaching these kids to be kind for? Because the world out there that you're grooming them for, believe me, is not kind. You don't get kind estate agents. You don't get kind lawyers. You don't get kind journalists. You don't get kind... You go right through things. People are giving you bills. Believe me, they're not kind. And I do genuinely wonder what we are preparing kids for.
We're not preparing them for real life, I agree. And the thing is, the more people are encouraged to be kind, hashtag be kind, the worse they are. I mean, if you look at someone that's giving you abuse, not me personally, thankfully I don't get too much, don't start now, but if you look at some of the things people say on social media, and they've always got a hashtag be kind in their bio, because it's like you're doing the polar opposite.
But if we give up on teaching our kids to be kind and celebrating kindness, then it's only going to get worse. I believe in really drilling it into my kids, you know, kill it with kindness. If someone's horrible to you, don't lower yourself. You be kind in reply. And, you know, maybe that's not preparing them for life, but I'd rather they went through life as decent people.
But my philosophy in life is if someone kicks you, kick them harder. That's exactly... I will be like in the film The Outlaw Josie Wales. I be the outlaw Josie Wales, Clint Eastwood, right? So basically his attitude was, leave me alone, we'll all get on fine. But if you annoy me, you draw a gun on me, you're dead. And And I think that's the philosophy.
I don't think anyone here would have got to where they were with being too agreeable and too soft either. So I think there's something to be said to say that, you know, it's good to be a bit
Alex,
tough.
that's very good, because I look at you and I think you're sweet and you're saintly,
thanks,
and you're just
in a core.
Like that lion wandering through those streets, you know.
Listen, we've got to pause now. We are joined by Government Minister, but we say thank you to Dawn and to Alex for now. It leads us perfectly, I think, on to James Heap.
He'll not be
Minister for
kind.
Armed
I wonder
Forces.